Okay, so today we're just going to continue doing the Giles Brown radio show, Talk Radio Europe, and it's a regular thing that we're doing to promote and understand the Hipoteca Inversa, the Spanish lifetime mortgage. Follow me.
Let's talk.
Giles Brown.
Join Giles Brown on the first Thursday of every month at 10 past 11, when he will be talking to Marc Elliott of Fluent Finance about Spanish lifetime mortgages for people of 65 and over.
And indeed, I am joined in the studio by Marc from Fluent Finance Abroad. Marc, good morning to you.
Good morning, Giles. Happy Easter,
Happy
everyone.
Easter. It's a holiday in Spain. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be off enjoying, relaxing a bit. Or is it, is it 24/7 with you guys?
Well, we had this programmed and my wife had said exactly the same, but here I am and very happy to be here, Giles.
It's one of the most special times of the year, isn't it? The run up to Easter and everything, because you've got winter out the way.
Yes.
And now it's the run through summer, etc. So they've got that to look forward to as well.
We do.
Now, last time you were on, we were talking about a little bit about your background, a little bit about Fluent Finance Abroad, and we were stressing the opportunities with the new products you wanted to talk about, and the fact, and I cannot stress this enough, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that this has gone through, it's ticked all the boxes, it's underlined all the bits, it's dotted the I's, it's crossed the T's, and it's absolutely rock solid in terms of its regulation and protection that it affords its those who take on the project. So explain a little bit again, because we want to go back to this again all the time, about what this particular product is that you've just brought to market. Okay, so just a brief explanation. What we're talking about here is a mortgage. It's called a Hipoteca Inversa. It translates to a Spanish lifetime mortgage. It's a mortgage, therefore, in Spain. Therefore, it's regulated by the Bank of Spain. It's been in existence for quite some time, but due to the credit crunch, the banks haven't really brought it out until now. Okay, there's only a few product providers. They're all Spanish banks or Spanish insurance companies. Therefore, there's immense regulation and laws that back this up. I think that's what you're trying to talk about. And so, we're a Bank of Spain regulated mortgage company, a mortgage broker, and therefore we have the permission to roll this type of property product out. Yeah, and also you have been here you've been based on the coast for a very long time indeed. You've been on both sides, if you like, because you've been in the UK industry as well in the Spanish industry. Obviously, bilingual, you've got experience with both of those, and it must be quite gratifying to see Spain sort of coming into line and getting much more regulated than perhaps it was 20, even 10 years ago. Yeah, I mean, Spain, as you know, Giles, and a lot of our listeners will know, went through a terrible time with the credit crisis, the great, I can't even remember what it's called, the Great Crash. Yeah. Mortgage regulation came from Europe, because obviously the credit crisis affected other countries within the European Union, and Spain implemented new sets of laws in 2019. So Fluent Finance actually this week is celebrating its 20th year. Congratulations. Thank you very much. 2 decades in the business. That's is quite satisfying to say. So before then, there was no real regulation governing any sort of mortgage advice. And now, thankfully, the Spanish government and the Bank of Spain are starting to take this matter, mortgage advice, more seriously, which is what we need. And of course, this particular product is unlocking, like I said, the potential in your property, isn't it? There's no restriction on the size or the area. These are available. There are some basic rules which we'll just touch on now. Yeah. Sure. Okay. So the Hipoteca Inversa lifetime mortgage is purely designed for people in retirement, so over the age of 65. If you're 64 years old, you do not qualify. You have to wait until you reach 65. It is only designed to release funds from your main residence to help fund your retirement.
It's really important this point because there are certain tax advantages if it is on your main residence. You pay tax as you went into your main home, as it's where you live, then there are certain tax advantages. That's why it falls under the regulation 41/2007.
Right.
And so that's important. So any money that you take out of your home is tax-free because you pay tax as you've gone in.
Yeah.
So that's a really important point. At the moment, the lenders that we have are only focused on certain high sort of density populations.
Right.
They've rolled out Costa del Sol, but they're not, and other big cities. Malaga, obviously, is quite important where we are. But they rolled out the Costa del Sol. They've included up to San Roque at the moment.
Yep.
And the big cities. The reason for that is that they're still a little bit nervous about how this is going to roll out.
Sure.
Okay. Our job as Fluent Finance Abroad is to try and do the job properly and build that confidence so that they can start expanding into other areas. So we are a little bit limited at the moment as to where we can actually do this, roll out this product.
Right, but there is the possibility of it being rolled out as we go, because we are in the early stages. This is a brand new. I cannot stress this enough. This is a brand new concept, a brand new project that actually that can free up an awful lot of control the equities or the equity that is just sitting there at the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Let me just. This is a product that I've studied in the UK.
Yeah.
I first started talking about this product in Spain in 2011, and it's only until now that we've been able to comfortably say that we're able to bring this out to market.
And that's the word, comfortably, because you've been here for a while, 20 years, okay? You're known, you're respected, you've got a base. I've been to your offices in San Pedro, rather nice that they are as well. But people know you, Mark. It's not a case of, and this is all being done through the Spanish system. It's not being done but with an offshore thing here or, a glamorous. I'm not saying that San Pedro is not glamorous, but you know what I mean, some Caribbean island. It is everything that gets signed is going to be done. It's been, as I said before, it's been checked, it's been crossed. It's all by Spanish regulators.
Fundamentally, this product is designed for, whether we like it or not, is designed to be sold to people who couldn't be classed as vulnerable under the law. And so therefore, these checks and balances are there to protect the end consumer, which is great for me because, again, I've been here for 20 years. I intend to remain here for 20 years. So I'm glad I'm on the hook with the advice that I give. I'm glad that the banks are promoting it, are on the hook as well. And so we have to ensure that this gets rolled out in a safe and secure manner, and so that people understand exactly what they're doing, and there are no complaints later on. There are no mis-selling, so to speak.
Yeah. We're talking about, thought we'd look at something called, is it bear ownership?
Bear ownership, yeah.
Right, you keep your kit on. So what are we looking at there? Explain a little bit about what bear ownership is, please.
Okay, right. Okay, so this is separate from a mortgage. Right. Now, there's a lot of stuff online, and we get a lot of inquiries saying, I've seen equity release, but it involves me selling my house. Now, that is actually called in Spanish, venta de la nuda propiedad. I'm sure some of your listeners...
Say that again, because he does it so well.
Venta de la nuda propiedad, which basically means a sale of bare ownership. And this is essentially what this is that you sell your home, but you keep the legal right to live in it for the rest of your life. Now, that is called usufructo in Spanish, all right? It's getting quite... This is quite...
No, I'm learning new words here and go through, so don't worry about that.
So legally, the buyer, the new buyer, the third person owns your property or your old property, but the seller keeps the right to use it for life. Okay, so this isn't a mortgage. This is really important. This isn't governed by Bank of Spain rules and regulations. Isn't a loan against your home. The core difference here is the venta de la nuda propiedad, or the sale of bare ownership. You actually sell your property to an investor or a third party. The difference between that and a lifetime mortgage or a Hipoteca Inversa is that you never sell the rights of ownership of your property. You borrow money against your property but never sell the right. That's important distinction. So, for example, a lot of people say, "Well, look, I honestly believe I have I want to leave something in my estate, and therefore, with a lifetime mortgage, you never sell the ownership of your property. So, when the time comes, your estate will still have some money left over if the property obviously goes up in value, which a lot of people assume that it will. So if you take a lifetime mortgage today and the time comes or whatever in 10 years' time, a lot of people assume that their property will revalue upwards within that 10-year period. And we've seen that for the last 13, 14 years.
Right.
So that's quite a simple distinction between the two. There's a lot of noise out there at the moment, and a lot of people are getting confused, thinking that a Hipoteca Inversa is the same as a sale of bare ownership. I really want to stress that this is not the same.
Okay. And what sort of the options are then for your client if I've gone for this?
If you go for the lifetime mortgage for the lifetime mortgage, well, I mean, essentially it's, let me give you an example. We have a client, she is 76 years old. She lost her husband 5 years ago. They bought a property for $170,000 in 2014.
Yep.
She did a great investment, her and her husband. She's there on her own. It's now valued at $350,000. Her pension, she's now only on her state pension.
Right.
Because the pension that she had with her husband has run out. And now she's able to release up to 105,000 euros. Now, this lady is British. She has 2 children, 2 sons. I've met one of them. If she didn't have this money, her option was to sell the Spanish property and move back to the UK and go and live with one of her sons. Now, this lady, love her, she doesn't want to do that, and I know her son doesn't want her to do that, not just yet.
Right, okay.
So the beauty of this is that we can release 105,000 euros for this lady, which will be very, very useful for her, but she never gives up the ownership. So in year 5 or year 7 or year 10, she can sell that property and then do what she needed to do and move back into the UK.
And how much paperwork is there in this? Because we're talking about post 60. I mean, I'm not that far 65 myself, but you know what I'm saying here. If you're talking people who are perhaps a little more mature, and in my case, that's pretty much most of the rest of the world. But do you know what I'm saying here? Because a lot of people can get bamboozled, or it can be quite a daunting prospect. We know how much documentation you need. Yeah. Obviously, you guys are going to help lead people gently by the hand through this?
Sure. I mean, we're going to do a video to explain exactly, but we're just going to run through now what kind of documentation most people should gather before they start exploring this. So the first thing, all the banks and insurance company want is a copy of your original purchase deed. So the copia de la escritura de compraventa. Okay, most people should have that. If you can't find it, then ask the lawyer or go to the notary that you signed when you bought the house. Another really good one is that we have to prove that you've been living in that house or living in Spain for at least 3 years. Okay, so we need a certificado de empadronamiento, which basically is the town hall certificate of the padrón, which I'm sure most of our listeners will know exactly what that is. We need to know that you're up to date with the community of owners. So we need a letter from the community of owners to show that you're not in debt. IBI and basura, the IBI, the local taxes and stuff. Again, another receipt, which is quite easy to obtain. Also, this is really important. If you do have beneficiaries to your estate, we do need that we need to have their contact details and permission that they understand that mum and dad or mum is doing this. They're actually borrowing money against potential legacy. All right, it's really important. So details of your beneficiaries. Your home needs to be insured. Home insurance. Voila. I mean, the collateral is the house, so the bank want to know that it's adequately insured. So we need a copy of that and the receipt too. And the final really thing to get going, to make sure the bank, this is a speedy process. We need we need a document or a tax document from your country of residence. If it's not Spain, the UK, for example, like a pension statement. Why do we need this? Is not to really means test or anything, but they want to see your national insurance number, for example, to see that you've been legally resident somewhere and been paying tax, and that's pretty much it. With that, we can start making moves with the banks and insurance companies and start looking at what would be the best offer.
And do you have the options about how you receive this money? Can you take it? Can it go as a monthly payment? Can it come as a lump sum? Is that up to you? I mean,
three choices. Yep. You can take it as a monthly payment. You've got to be careful with that because let's say they agree to give you €1,000. That €1,000 doesn't go up in line with inflation. Okay, so €1,000 will be the same in 5 years. You could take a lump sum, which the majority are looking at taking because of that threat to inflation to that monthly, or you can have a combination of both. So there's three options really.
It's an interesting. Well, no, it's going to be a revolutionary product for the market, Mark. And if people want to find out more, just make some sort of original sort of feelers of the market, because this is going to be something that is going to impact a lot of people. We're all living longer. We may have properties that are going up in value as. Oh, you've got to get a chartered surveyor, haven't you, as well, to get it valued? That's one of the things.
That's right. Yeah, it's really important that people are aware that an official valuation survey has to be done. Otherwise, it can't be signed off at notary,
Right. Super. If people want to find out more information, make that first contact, because you're very approachable and you're very, you've got good coffee in your office. So where should they go as the first part of contact, Mark?
Well, we always try and get people to go to our website, which is www.fluentfinanceabroad.com. There's a lot of information there. We've also got a YouTube channel where we do a lot of video content and we try and explain this. So, when you do come to us, you have some idea as to if this kind of product would work. But yeah, all our contact details are on there. Info at Fluent Finance Abroad, the phone number. The best thing to do is really just use the contact page on the website. Yeah.
Just give me that web address one more time.
It's www.fluentfinanceabroad.com.
Been great to have you in the studio as always, Mark. We'll see you next month. We'll go into this a little bit further, but it really is great stuff for our listeners.
Muchas gracias,
as they say. Mark, thank you so much for your time today.